Hi, I'm Anna Valentine, and I'm here with Brittany Creedon and Spencer Pop at the University of Oklahoma on our campus corner. We're here today to interview people and ask them what they think Jesus looks like and how they think the media portrays him.
My perceptions of Jesus' race, if I could just think to earliest, I was under, I think, the illusion for a while that, you know, he was all white, you know, and Caucasian, but, you know, definitely just studying the Hebrew, you know, culture that he grew up in, you know, apparently he's, you know, Middle Eastern.
He probably looked like a Arab because he was from that area.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but the, you know, it depends on which one you look at. If you look at, you know, well, you know, you see the standard picture, the long hair and the beard and stuff, but then if you go to Utah Jesus, he's always a little bit lighter skinned because he wants to look more like the Mormons.
right.
So, yeah.
So,
I don't know, pale-skinned, long brown hair, brown eyes. But I got that. My mom had a picture hanging up of him in our house, so that's kind of where I got it from when I was little.
And how do you think that the media portrays Jesus?
I think that they portray him the same way. I mean,
And what do you think that Jesus looks like?
Well, since I'm an ethnic studies major and I conditioned myself to think with a different paradigm, I used to think that Jesus looked like most of the 1600 depictions of the blonde hair and blue eyes and things of that ilk. But now I force myself to have Jesus a more darker skinned Jew with a bold haircut, the way they wore the style back at the time when he walked the earth.
And how do you think that the media portrays Jesus?
Oh, well, the media portrays Jesus as the media stands, the dominant culture. So the media portrays Jesus as one of European descent. I don't think they make a connection and a correlation to Jesus being of Jewish descent or being a Jew. So that's my opinion.
And do you think that that image has a really big effect on how people view Jesus, the images that the media portrays him as?
Oh, I think it would. I think it affects your self-schema, and I think it affects how you color your ideas and all, and especially if you're a person of color. And I'm talking with somewhat of a biased, disconnected opinion from the dominant culture, but those things work on your self-schema, how you view things, your looking glass self, those who are in control and those who are dominant and things of that ilk. So most definitely.
Yeah, historical. I mean, he grew up in the region where people generally spoke Aramaic, and he was very likely to be of that ethnicity.
right. So, do you think that the media and the images that you've seen on television, on of Jesus in movies and all those other things, do you think that has an effect on people? Do you think?
Yeah, they usually point the other way, and actually, that's from the very ancient media, where Jesus kind of got Anglicized a bit. They made him white when he wasn't originally white. They altered his features a bit more to appeal more to the native peoples of England and France that they're trying to proselytize to get more conversions.
Right. And what would your reaction be if you turned on the TV and say there was a black Jesus on TV?
I'd probably start laughing maniacally.
I rode into town on an ass. Yo mama's ass.
Anything else?
Appreciate your time, man. That was
Thank you
great.
so much.
what was your name?
Jesus, it's more of the dominant, the worldwide dominant culture, which are Europeans. So I think they would portray that way. But of course, we want to look the person who's omnipotent to be of our group. So I think, you know, one would do that. And that's why with the Black Power movement and self-pride and all, they start depicting Jesus as a black man. You know, it's can't really point fingers because everyone does it, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the media usually portrays Jesus as a white male. But actually, and yesterday or 2 days ago, I was watching The View, and one of the black lady, she was, I can't remember her name right now, Star. Is that her name? Is that her name? Anyway, and Star was like, you know, even though she is black and she's a woman, she said, you know, I perceive God as a white male. Just that's what he is to me. And one of the others, Joy, was like, so why can't he be a female? And she was like, well, just to me, he's a male. Just to me. So I think that it's a personal thing too, even though the media, I don't know if it's because the media portrays him as a black male, or is that just, you know, for me, I see him as a white male as well. So
what would you think if you turn on the TV and you saw Jesus being portrayed as like an Asian female?
I think at first it would take me a second to realize that they were portraying Jesus. Like, I would be like, oh, who are they? I would definitely catch me off guard, for sure.
Jesus is supposed to be personal to everyone, so if you know, you want to have him look like something you'd be familiar with, so there's not really a problem with that.
Definitely.
And really, for that matter, you know, I don't really care. You know, he just came in one form anyway, so maybe he did have different looks. So
Right.
yeah, la-di-da.
I was actually really surprised to hear some of the responses here on Campus Corner from some of the OU students, because they really seem to have a really well-rounded worldview of Jesus' history, where his roots are, and where he's come from. And I think that if we went somewhere else, the answers might be a little different. But in general, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that people are really understanding of the true nature of Jesus and not necessarily the media's portrayal.
I was really surprised coming out here. I expected everyone to kind of have the same view and kind of go off what they saw in the media and how the media portrayed it, because I think that's how we receive a lot of our information and kind of form our views. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that people had very intellectual answers and they thought of it in a more critical way instead of just taking what they've seen and going off of that. And especially being in the Bible Belt of Oklahoma, you know, I call it stereotypical, but I assume that everyone would think that he was white because that is the way that the media portrays them. But they were very open-minded, and it was a pleasant experience.
My experience today on Campus Corner, I assume that there would be a lot of educated answers just because we're basically on the campus, and most of the people here have had a very, very good education here at the University of Oklahoma. But I think that if we were to take this same project somewhere else, and I think we would get very different views about what Jesus looked like. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of the people took into account, you know, the history and where Jesus came from, and they're not exactly just believing everything that the media is telling them.
What we want you to take away from this project is that the media has the power to shape things into the perspectives that they want you to see. So next time that you view the media, think critically.